Good everybody, welcome to Southern Survivor Gear Review. I'm Jan and today we have another bug out bag gear review. And for today's episode we're going to do shelter. Now obviously shelter depends on where you are, what your climate's going to be, what your location's going to be, the kind of environment. Are you in a forest or area, or are you in the African bush? Are you in a area which is pretty much more urban? That all depends on that. As you probably know by now, that my setup is a first responder tactical kind of setup, because that's just who I am, that's what I do, that's just everything why this channel is also about. And yes, the whole purpose and the point of this is to be as multiple use as you can, as strong and quality as you can, but also as light and as small as you can. That's the whole purpose of a bug out bag. Compact, small, multi-purpose use. So what do I have? First thing I have, which is pretty much one of the most used things around the world, is a army poncho. Now I actually used this in my previous camping video, and I actually wanted to buy one of these, but I got one from a friend, which is the old South African Defence Force, the old good army poncho. But the problem with it, it's actually quite old now. As you can see, the waterproofing and all everything is pretty much going off, but that's not a problem. I am going to make a refurbished video how to restore a old army poncho. Basically all I'm going to do is I'm going to rip all of this crap off via a product from Nixwax, which is a UV protective and a waterproofing. So put that on both sides, but I'm also going to spray paint this, give it some green and a camo effect. Now the whole reason why I have a army poncho is, as I said, different uses. So usually if it's a colder climate and there's not a lot of rain, I need to worry about, I will use this as a ground tarp, put it on the ground and put my tent hammock, which I'll get into now, on top of that. But also another thing about a rain poncho is it works as a rain poncho. So if it rains, you can take it out, put it over your bag and yourself and walk around in a poncho. I do, however, prefer a full body raincoat for those tactical reasons, but just as a use for a rain poncho, this would probably be fine. We are in winter now, which I'm not really concerned about rain at the moment, so that's, yeah. But I changed my bag as the season changed as well. Another thing also about the army poncho is it's got these grommets. If you can see there's the grommet, and there's another one as well. It can clip closed and you can use it as a bivy bag. So if the temperature changes during night and you're really cold and you not really have that extra isolation on the ground necessarily, you can actually put your sleeping bag into the poncho and it works as an extra layer to keep warm. So a lot of different uses for an army poncho. I'll put images on the video as example for what I've done before. Then after that I have a self-made DIY tarp. This is a 3x3 meter. I'm not exactly sure what the measurements for the American system is. I think it's a 10x10 or a 12x12, but we use metric system, which we use meters. So this is a 3x3 meters. And on the hooks I didn't put grommets, because especially during strong winds, I've had one of these plastic tarps and the grommets just pulls out during strong weather. So I made these, I don't know exactly what you call them, I just call it, we call it a lissie in Afrikaans, and I added this elastic bands. Reason for that is, especially if it's tied with rope or with 10 pegs and the wind pulls it, the elastic takes most of that punch. On my first, actually my second staff camping trip when I was in the Karoo in December, I had this set up and I had rocks put onto the tarp on another rock, and as the wind blew, the tarp like wiggled, and it actually made small holes of the vibration and the friction, and that would damage the tarp. So I learned a lesson there. But again, the tarp also multiple use. What I don't like about the army poncho is it's a 2.0 by I think a 1.6 or 1.8 meter. I'm not familiar too much with the measurements, but the poncho especially is a little bit too short. If you use the A-frame system, it's a little bit too short, so I presume I like something bigger. But also the reason why I use a big 3x3 meter tarp is you can make a lot of different setups, shelter setups. And especially, for instance, let's say you are in a first responder situation, or you are 2 or 3 guys and they are unprepared. You can make a shelter for 1 or 2, maybe 3 people with a big tarp, depending on the setup. But especially for the rainy seasons, it's nice and big. You can make a nice big shelter, and it can give you nice protection from the rain and from the weather. And this actually, I will show videos or just images in the video, like I said, of how I use this before. There's a lot of different varieties of how to use this. If you actually just go on YouTube or even Google, you will see your screen explode of all the different examples. And then the main thing which I actually use is a old, well, it's not an old, but it is a tent hammock. And to explain this, what it is exactly, so what I do is I fold it a little bit slightly. I use webbing for compression, and I make it shorter. It pretty much goes with this size, so you can actually put it flat on your bug-out bag. But I don't like my bug-out bag to be bulky. I like it to be nice and thin, nice and slim. So I put it at the bottom of the bug-out bag. What this is, it was originally a hammock, but it has mosquito net on the sides, and it's got this nylon roof on top. But the roof for me is a little bit too small, especially if you spread it out. It could be quite good, but if it is really strong in the rainy weather, it's not going to give the best of protection. But what is especially nice to this is it has the mosquito netting on the side and completely closed. So if you're in a nice summer rainy situation and there's mosquitoes in your area, you are quite protected from the insects on the outside. The negative part about this is not completely a nice Cordura material or a rip-stop kind of material, so it's not really that high quality. I don't think it's going to last a long time in the bush, especially in African bush. Now you need to consider that, especially in your environment, if you're for instance, let's say the British Isles, which is a complete rainy, soft soil area, you're not worried about sleeping hard. You can use moss and everything else just for isolation at the bottom. But here in South Africa, in the African bush, everything is hard and rough and tough. So I mean, that's why they use the whole Cordura, and they use the safari tent. I forgot about the material's name now, on the tip of my tongue. The canvas. That's why they use quality canvas for the safari and the outdoors, because it lasts long, especially in the sun. And I mean, if you like, for instance, in the northern part of the planet, it's not as warm, it's not as sunny, it's more rain, so you don't really need to worry about all that UV. Here in Africa, we need the toughest, the hardest, best quality we can. And because this has a nylon roof, it's got the normal canvas bottom, which is not waterproof though. But I actually have a design that I want to have made, which is a complete hunting, fish responder, military type setup tent, which I actually want to get in production. I want to start my own business, and that's one of my 5-year plans. But this used to be a hammock with a tent and the canvas. But since in my location, my area where I'm going to use this most of the time, there's not really a lot of trees. It's more African bush. You will find trees, but it's hard, dense thorn trees, especially the Hakensteek. Terrible. But also because I have a concealed setup, I want to be as flat as I can on the ground, as low as possible. Even if for instance, tall grass, I want to be behind that eye level, so from a distance I don't want to be seen. My setup is designed that I can pretty much set up my campsite and my sleeping system anywhere in the country. Doesn't matter if it's between trees, doesn't matter if it's in the bushveld. As long as there's grass or something nice I can hide behind, I can put up my sleeping system. So I want to be able to sleep anywhere as concealed as possible, even when you're hiking, actually sometimes there's not a hut somewhere to sleep and you have to sleep outside. People have been laughing at me my entire life. I just get a spot and I set up my own camp and I'm sorted. Which is also nice about the big 3x3 tarp is you can put it if you really want to, but that's more for my stealth camping situations, and my videos I put it a little higher, actually quite high, and you make a small fire pit. You can make fire underneath it, and yeah, the heat, it's high enough for the heat not to destroy and to damage the tarp. But with this sleeping hammock, I want to be as low as I can, protected from the elements and the insects and so on. But the roof on the tent is a bit too small, so what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to make a smaller roof than the 3x3, but bigger than the hammock's roof, and just sew it onto the roof so I can have a bit more of a longer, bigger, measured type of roof for this. Now, there's a lot of different shelters people use. I've seen one of my friends actually, it's got a small tent. I've seen people just use a hammock, and there's some guys that use a bivvy system. I love the bivvy system, but the problem with those is the quality bivvies is way expensive. It's too expensive. The whole setup I have here is quality, but as affordable as I can. And I had this, and I got this at a special sale about 10-12 years ago, and I've actually only used it for the first time in my camping video underneath the pine trees. I'll leave a link in the description as well for you guys to see that. So I've had this many years, never used it, but now, especially for the bug out system, it works perfectly. Amazing. I will leave links in the description for you guys to actually watch and see what I did. A lot of different uses. You actually can still use this as a hammock setup, but then you have to replace all the ropes and stuff like that. I actually cut the ropes off because it had the ring with the ropes for the hammock. But I am using this on the ground. But with this I actually use a small shovel as well, because if you are on the ground and you want to, for instance, a rainy season, there's techniques and things you can do to prevent the rain and the water from going into your shelter. For instance, you dig like a sliding hole, a slit in Afrikaans. I forgot the English name now, but you make a hole in the ground or a slide where the water goes in and it flows away from your system. I've used it many times. We were in Pilansberg, I guess about 6 years ago, and it was raining crap, and I had a small tent, and when I saw the rain coming, I was like, I'm screwed now. So I quickly got my shovel, made a nice ridge line for the water to go off. People laughed at me. The next morning people actually came to me and they complimented me for using quick knowledge and good skills. So yeah, that's the whole sleeping tarp and the well, it's not hammock anymore. I just call it a tent hammock because that's actually originally what it is. But this is my small tent. Then for ropes, I actually haven't gotten to paracord. The 550 paracord is a bit expensive now. I saw the Chinese knockoffs, but I'd rather just buy quality. So what I have, if I go out on my camping adventures, the stealth camping system, I just use these nylon guy ropes. Everybody is familiar with these, and then I just got these eyelet grommets. I don't know what you call them actually, but it works the same as it does in the tent. So basically all you can do is you move this and then you tighten it, and it doesn't, but you can adjust it if you see there slowly, you can do that. But then you use this, you tie it to the trees or to a tent peg or whatever, and then you can just adjust your shelter. But I also use this small, I don't know if the camera will focus there, I'm going to try and put this, let me just put it over here or in front of my shirt actually. This is I think it's a 2 or a 3 mil nylon rope. The reason I have this instead of the paracord is this is way cheaper. This is so much cheaper. I bought this I think in a 10 or a 15 meter. I've got 2 of them. I've got one long one which I use as a guy rope, obviously to put the top over for different users, or for fishing actually. You can if you just use, I've got pre-made fishing hooks of line, and you just connect this to this, and you can actually use it to go fishing. You can make that. You can use this small nylon rope to make snares, even to use as shoelaces. There's so many different uses. If you just use your noggin and you actually know what you're doing, you can survive with the least of stuff. And this is the whole thing about the whole prepper tactical outdoors thing. Is it's not all just about the gear. You don't need the best gear. You just need your intellectual level and your skills and things you learn. That's the most important thing of surviving any situation. But yeah, with this, I think I presume it's 3mm or 2mm nylon rope. I've got a couple of these already pre-cut. Works wonderful. Then actually to sleep in, I did my review in the previous video, is my sleeping bag. Now there's a lot of different sleeping bags. I went with the down because of the size and weight. In the African bush, or if you want something hard, I would recommend rather going over to the synthetic, but they are heavier, they are bigger. This is the First Ascent light down with a extreme of -5, and I think the average rating is about 0 or 2 degrees. As you can see, nice and small, nice and compact, and it's tied here to the molly on the bug out bag. I used my camera's bag, the Low Pro, the slings on it, and which basically all I do here is I can just use the clips and tie it like this down. I tie it like this for extra support, so if you need to run or climb or whatever, it's nice and secure. Now here you have your sleeping bag. Yeah, the transition rating is 5 and the extreme is -5. But with that I have also the First Ascent thermal light liner, which is the +15. Now remember guys, this +15 thermal liners, it doesn't add 15 degrees Celsius to your sleeping bag. The main reason we use this is pretty much just to protect your sleeping bag, because the quality ones are expensive. This does add an extra layer and heat in your sleeping bag, but the whole +15 is a myth. Don't believe it. Ask anyone who knows and who's got experience with this. It doesn't work like that. But it does add some warmth to it, and it also protects your sleeping bag from the inside. Light, small, this weighs about 325 grams. Yay. And the sleeping bag weighs, I think, was 600 grams. So for less than a kilogram, small, compact, and still quite 3-season sleeping bag system. Awesome and nice and small and compact. I will actually, however, also add the UV protection and the waterproofing to the sleeping bag cover, because the Canea Pro Phalanx bag doesn't come with a raincoat. The Cordura material 500D is quite weatherproofed. Not 100%, but it's quite weather resistant. But I will put a cover and a layer of weatherproofing on this just to protect it down, because if a down sleeping bag gets wet, trouble. The synthetic sleeping bags are a bit more protected against weather elements. And that's pretty much my whole sleeping system. I will leave small clips in the video to show you guys the setups that I've used. Maybe it will help you guys, I don't know. Let me know what you guys use, what you think, what your comments are. Please like, subscribe, and follow my channels, Facebook and on YouTube. I really need the subscriptions. And that's pretty much. If you guys want to know anything else, you want to add something, get in contact with me, send me a message. Keep well, have a nice day, and good luck during these difficult times. God bless guys. Thank you and goodbye.